She showed up to a Netflix event dressed like she lost a bet, and the internet made sure she knew it. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because this one has people talking from London to Los Angeles. In today's commentary, we're breaking down a moment that nobody on Meghan Markle's team saw coming, or maybe they did, and just didn't care. A high-profile Netflix-linked industry event. Cameras everywhere. And the one thing everyone walked away talking about had nothing to do with the project she was there to promote. Let's set the scene. This wasn't a casual outing. This was a curated, intentional, industry-facing appearance tied directly to Meghan's ongoing Netflix partnership, a partnership that is reportedly still working to prove its value after years of mixed public reception. Every detail of these appearances is supposedly managed, reviewed, and approved, which is exactly why, when the dress landed the way it did, the reaction hit differently. Within hours, words like wardrobe nightmare, fashion fail, and what was she thinking were trending. Not in one corner of the internet. Across fashion blogs, mainstream commentary channels, and royal watching communities simultaneously. That kind of alignment is rare. And loud. But you haven't heard the craziest part. It wasn't just critics who turned on the look. It was people who have historically defended her. Here's the thing about Meghan Markle and fashion. She is not an amateur. This is a woman who wore Givenchy to her royal wedding, who has graced the covers of Vogue, who understands the language of visual presentation at an elite level. Sources suggest her team spends considerable time and resources coordinating looks for public-facing events. So when something misses this badly, the public isn't reading it as an accident. According to social media analysts, posts critiquing the outfit generated millions of impressions within the first 24 hours, numbers that suggest this wasn't a niche fashion conversation. It became a cultural moment. Think of it like showing up to pitch a billion-dollar idea on a whiteboard covered in spelling errors. The idea might be good. Nobody gets past the board. Now here's where this story takes a turn that even critics weren't fully prepared for. Observers at the event and online analysts dissecting the footage reportedly noted something beyond the dress, a visible shift in demeanor. Body language. Facial expressions. The kind of microsignals that cameras catch and the internet magnifies into a full narrative. Allegedly, as attention centered increasingly on the wardrobe reaction rather than the event itself, insiders described what they perceived as visible irritation, a tightening of the public-facing composure that Meghan has always worked hard to maintain. It's the celebrity equivalent of someone telling you there's spinach in your teeth mid-speech, except the whole auditorium is filming it, and 3 fashion journalists are already writing the headline. And this is the part that deserves genuine reflection, not just mockery. Meghan Markle is a person navigating one of the most relentlessly scrutinized public existences on the planet. Every appearance, every fabric choice, every expression, every pause gets dissected by millions of people who have already made up their minds about her. Whether the criticism of this particular dress was fair or not almost doesn't matter anymore, because perception has become its own reality. The uncomfortable truth is that she's in a phase of her career where she cannot afford a neutral moment. Everything either builds the narrative or breaks it. And right now, this moment is being added to a file that critics have been compiling for years. By the following morning, the hashtag #MeghanFashionFail had reportedly generated over 2 million impressions across platforms. Commentary channels saw viewership spikes of up to 300% on Meghan-related content posted in the aftermath. The audience was hungry, and they were already primed. So, here's the question that nobody on her team seems to have a clean answer to. At what point does the pattern override the individual incident? Fans and critics alike have observed repeated conversations across the last 3 years about Meghan's fashion choices either clashing with the event's tone, overshooting relatability, or simply not landing. This wasn't the first miss. And based on the current trajectory of her public image management, it likely won't be the last. But, and this is where the story gets genuinely interesting, there's a version of this where it doesn't matter. There is a version of Meghan Markle's strategy where polarization itself is the product, where being talked about positively or negatively keeps the algorithm fed and the Netflix deal alive. Some branding experts have quietly suggested that her team may understand exactly what they're doing, manufacturing conversation where there would otherwise be silence. If that's the case, then the joke might actually be on everyone who clicked. In a world where attention is currency, maybe looking like a wardrobe nightmare is the most expensive outfit she's ever worn. If you thought that was wild, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Tell us whether you think this was a genuine miss or a calculated move. Wait till you see what was caught off camera at that same event, the moment nobody's talking about yet.